Hello, everybody. This one has been requested for quite some time. This is Render Should I Buy? And I think it's, make sure I got volume. Buy. Yeah. And good. We always have sound. Important. So anyway, Render has got a lot of people's attention, and we're going to do a very quick deep dive into every aspect of the token. And a shout out to Dr. Imrani as well, who is a big fan of Render and has been asking me to cover it for quite some time. So here we are. Also, the community and Patreon is very interested in this, and the audience. But it's always tricky because I'm very conservative with how I allocate capital, even though I invest in disruption. But every asset needs a deep dive, and every asset is different. And here we'll look at all the usual stuff that we do in our Should I Buy series. And of course, none of this is investment advice. It's just edutainment. And this is the process we go through. Our token valuation process, we look at what it does, how it ranks, can it disrupt an industry, what are the value propositions, moats, etc. What's happening with technology and developers, what do tokenomics look like, very, very important, the ecosystem, growth and longevity, risks, also very important. And then we wrap up with price prediction and conclusion to see would I buy or not. Always exciting. So first of all, what it does, and many of you may know Render, but it's a cryptocurrency that uses the power of the Render network, which is a decentralized platform for rendering high quality 3D graphics. Real simple. And why do they matter? Well, everything is going digital. Everything is going to the metaverse. Everything is going to Web3, and that will require a truckload of 3D graphics. So when a user wants to render a 3D graphic, they submit a job to the Render network. The job will be broken down into smaller tasks, and these tasks will be distributed to other users on the network who have spare GPU power. And the users who complete the tasks get paid in Render. And that's pretty much how it works. But it is an innovative application for 3D graphics in a variety of industries: gaming, film, architecture, etc., etc. So it is in the right space at the right time, let's just say. Background, we always have to look at the team. So they have a pretty mature management team, and it was founded by Jules Arbach, and he is the CEO of Otoy, and he's got 25 years of experience in the industry, and he's a pioneer in the field. He also, at 18 years of age, he was able to license some of his 3D video game technology to Macromedia, which was subsequently bought by Adobe, Disney, and Warner Brothers. And his life's work is to revolutionize the way 3D content is created. So again, a lot of experience, super deep background, and now moving to the crypto world. So let's talk about ranking and how it plays. Again, from the Crypto Compendium, we categorize this particular technology, Render, as shared compute. And it has a CMC market cap of in the top 60 right now. At the beginning of the year, it was number 94. So it's really come along. Now, we actually also bundle it with things like Anchor, Golem, LivePeer, Follow Network, Akash Network, etc., many others. Now, the way other people categorize it is as distributed computing. And here you see it's in with the likes of ICP, Filecoin, Holo, Helium. Helium, coincidentally, is also moving to the Solana blockchain, just like this particular one. Ransom Crypto, thank you so much. And Siacoin, Flux, and a few others. So let's just jump in. That's how it's categorized as now. Can it disrupt an industry? So making more affordable to create 3D graphics, Render basically does that. And we'll talk about some of the numbers and how much have been rendered since 2017. But it can be a significant cost savings for people that use it, especially for small businesses or individuals who do not have the resources to purchase their own high-powered computers. And this makes it more accessible to create 3D graphics, render crypto, etc., etc. And this opens up the whole world for very, very detailed, high-quality 3D graphics that are very much required. Basically, it could technically empower an individual to create their own game. And we know that with the advent of AI, a lot of people are doing some very innovative stuff by themselves without a huge amount of resources. So this is another reason why I like it. Now, value prop, it does have the potential to disrupt the 3D graphics industry, which is already being disrupted by AI, making it more affordable, accessible, and of higher quality. And again, it will be adopted in areas like gaming, film, and animation, much of which is happening in this whole metaverse, Web3 type world in which we live in. So again, distress, right place, the right time. Now, speed and scale is very, very important for this type of technology. And this was in their GitHub page. They said speed matters for the future of Web3. And they spoke about the decision to move to Solana because ETH runs at 14 TPS. Matic currently runs around 28 TPS, although theoretically it can do more. Solana runs at 140 times that speed of Matic, which is substantial. And also, most importantly for the team at Render, is Solana's 19,000 times cheaper than Matic, which is crazy, and especially for some of the new features. So this whole thing was passed and approved, and they, like Helium, will move to Solana. Now, the value proposition of this, a big part of why I'm excited about this, it will help them do things better, cheaper, and faster, and hopefully bring down that average price, which is about $70 per render, down a lot lower as they go forward. So a lot is happening in a very short window of time. And I also think this explains a lot of the upward price movement, the fact that they'll become much more scalable and cheaper to bring this type of service to market as they go forward. Now let's talk about technology as well. In the past, rumors, and this is all rumors stuff, I've been researching this for months and months, and this is the quick summary, but not my words. I'm not a 3D graphics person by no stretch, but rumor was in the past that Render had problems retaining developers that were Solidity developers. And moving to Sol will help because that's moving to Rust. No longer reliant on Solidity specialists. And also, there was also talk that smart contracts on Solana are said to be more secure than Ethereum, believe it or not, despite some chains on Ethereum. One in particular had a problem, but that was a coding problem, not a blockchain problem. A lot of people believe that ETH has more exposure. If you think of the Ronin hack, the DAO hack, etc., Solidity is wide open for some coding vulnerabilities. So that's also what they say. Not my words, just sharing information. I don't want to throw stones at anybody's favorite technology or chain. Let's look at tokenomics as well, very important area. Render ranks 5th out of the 8 in this whole shared computing space. And that is not so good. The crypto compendium score is 4.65. That means in the bottom 46th percentile of the top 500 cryptos, which is not optimal. But they are changing things up to try to fix some of this. We'll talk about how they're doing that too. But it's not yet out there. If we look at the tokenomics and how they are distributed, the Render ICO took place, I think, sometime mid-October 2017. The initial price of the Render token was 25 cents. Remember, it was 40 cents not too long ago, after many, many years. They sold about 4.6 million Render tokens. They raised about 1.16 million. And the remaining Render tokens were distributed as follows: 10% to the team and members and advisors, 25% to the future token sales, 65% for the user development fund, and a private sale was held in 2018, where around 3% of the 25% schedule for token sales was sold at the same price as the ICO at 25 cents. And these tokens were instantly available to the buyers with no lockup period. So they've long since hit the market, which is good. Let's look at the emissions. This is important as well. You can see here from this graph that there is a lot of new emissions typically at the beginning and the first half of every year. You can see the way it stepped up early 2022, stepped up again early 2023. And then towards the latter half of the year, it's kind of calm. I can't tell exactly what's going to happen, but I do have some inflation predictions. So per our model, again, the compendium, you can see here the circulating supply is 68% right now. Total supply is 500 million tokens. And the annual inflation as it stands today is 13.1% as per our system. In addition, let's look at the inflation over the last 12 months, just to give some people a perspective. A lot of people, when you look at Twitter, everyone will tell you, oh, Render is deflationary. But no, over the last 12 months, exactly, 365 days ago, there were 231 million renders. Today, there's 364 million. And that is 58% inflation over the last 12 months. And in a bear market, that type of inflation really keeps the prices down, as you can imagine. But we'll talk more about the price action in a minute. Now, they do have this new burn and mint mechanism. Those who want to render on the render network will need to burn render tokens. The amount of render tokens that are burned will be equal to the cost of rendering the design. Each render burned gives a render credit. So it's like they're burning, but then giving back. And this is the funny language. Again, a lot of talk about render being deflationary, but not really. The magic here is when I went through their Medium papers and everything else, the amount of render tokens that are minted will be equal to the amount of render tokens that are burned, okay? So it's catch-22. And there is additional supply coming to market. But this is the magical part here. If usage grows, supply decreases and creates upward price pressure. That's good. That's why we are in this game. But if usage slows down, supply increase will happen, and that will bring the price down. Again, less supply, higher the price. That's why we love Bitcoin and Ethereum, because they're kind of quasi-deflationary. Ethereum is deflationary for a different reason. Bitcoin is deflationary because people lose their keys all the time. But this is kind of important. And we don't know kind of the nuances of exactly how this will pan out. But again, watch the space and see what happens. Now, we'll talk about the ecosystem for a second. The render network is part of the Otoy technology stack that uses the Octane render software. So they do have a very tight ecosystem to be able to create 3D images and a whole bunch of various tools across the whole industry, used by Disneys of the world and other types of content creation operations. And having these over 21 different integrations allows basically any user on any of these platforms to easily package their content for rendering on render, which is the magic sauce. In addition, there is an AI component to render. Many people consider it an AI play, including myself. But this is the Octane render that will use AI to be able to create very brilliant images in a very short amount of time too, as you go forward. So let's talk about growth and longevity, how long they've been around. So the render token was first announced in 2017 and launched in 2019. And what's most important here about this is it does use AI to provide high quality, affordable rendering to anybody, anywhere, an individual, retail, customer, or a small enterprise. It is made up of a global community of computers. It has the most environmentally friendly rendering methods and will be even more environmentally friendly after it moves to Solana because of the scale and speed and the cost. And it'll be well positioned as well to capitalize on the growing demand for cloud rendering. Now, demand for visual rendering is expected to increase, as we mentioned before, with the popularity of AI art and the explosion in the gaming industry, particularly on blockchains as we go forward. So let's talk about social activity real quick, because it is important to know, has anybody ever heard of Render? So this is the top DeFi projects. This is just posted by Lunar Crash today. And you can see that one of the most social active projects is Solana, then Uniswap, then PancakeSwap, kind of weird, and then Render, then Injective Protocol. In fact, Render and Injective are two very hot names right now, and then Quack, AVAX, etc. So you can see people know what Render is about, and that's so important, because you could have the best technology in the world, but if nobody knows about it, it's not going to go anywhere. So this is a very good sign too. Now let's talk about the risks with the little exploding bomb up in the top right corner. One of the biggest risks, in our opinion, is: can Render leverage the economies of scale better than centralized solutions? So there are cloud services like AWS, Azure, GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform. They are all providing GPU-intensive virtual machines that use the best and latest and greatest chips, like NVIDIA GPUs. In full disclosure, I own some NVIDIA and Google, so you can see where I'm playing. Now, the advantage that these cloud services provide is that they can leverage economies of scale to reduce their price. I don't know if Render is of that same scale that these guys are. Now, if the customers primarily consider the price, it's going to be difficult for decentralized GPU rendering services like Render to compete, many people believe, many experts believe. And we had an expert consult with us on this exact point. So thank you, Mr. W out there. Now, also, other risks for major return, we need a very compelling narrative. So they need to really hitch that wagon to the whole AI narrative that's going on right now. In addition, the rewards for the render token need to be sufficient to cover the cost of providing computer power. It's open to debate. I've read things that say, yes, it is. Other people say, no, I'm not getting enough reward back. And we talked about the GCPs, etc. Also, they have an advisory board member, and that is Jennifer Zhu Scott, who is part of the World Economic Forum. And we don't know why, but we'll just park that there for now. And of course, there is render security. There is that SEC risk as well. I think the SEC are going to go after the biggest players first. These guys are now in the top 60, so that makes them a target. But again, we'll see where this all goes. There was no Nakamoto coefficient for me to determine if render is sufficiently decentralized, like some of the other names, so I'll leave that there. In addition, another risk, which is very, very important, Midjourney, the AI can create images from anything that you ask. This image was created in seconds, and it's quite powerful. So with AI, we've got competition coming in from everywhere. But is that what 3D graphic people want? I'm not sure. I'm not an expert in the space by no stretch, but just want to park that there too. The power of AI and the development and speed of development is stunning. Could this cannibalize render? I don't know, but it's a risk I'm pointing out. In addition, the good news, per Masari, the demand for compute is skyrocketing, but also the price is falling as we go forward. If you listen to people like Shamath, they believe the price of compute will eventually go to very close to zero. But the demand for compute is driven by emerging technologies such as AI, IoT, which is the Internet of Things, and the metaverse. And training and running AI algorithms needs a ton of compute. And that's why plays like this, shared compute, are going to be in high demand in the future. And that could overcome some of the tokenomics issues that we discussed earlier too. Now, we don't know exactly which element of compute other than 3D rendering, but maybe there's another play, for other areas of the business too as they go forward that they could branch off into. In addition, price history, where we've come from, you can see that the price did hit nearly $9 or over $8 at one stage. But what's most important is since the beginning of 2023, this is mind-blowing, render has gone up 471% year to date. And that is stunning. It's one of the top performing cryptos. Again, a bunch of cool narratives like AI. In addition, hitching the wagon to Solana has a lot of people very excited. So all of this is kind of the perfect storm of where we are right now, today. Now, a lot of people love this piece, the analyst price predictions. Some of them are ludicrous. Some of them are kind of more dialed in. Some of them might be a little bit dated, but I'll share what I could find. We have pricepredictions.net and PPMax and Coinpedia and crypto predictions, BitNation, etc. I took an average like I always do of all of these. And again, I don't know if there's people throwing darts at boards or just guessing, but some of the names like BitNation, crypto predictions, Coinpedia seemed a little bit more conservative. But pricepredictions.net, it looks like they, were a little bit high. So if you take, for example, the price prediction PP Max, they expect a price of 59.72 in the year 2031, which would mean that Render has a market cap of $23.5 billion. And that's assuming all tokens are issued, the 530 million, which again, depends where you look. Some people say the cap is 500. Some people say it's 530. So I took the max here to get the max capital as well. So these are very high predictions. But zooming in again, if we look at some of the averages, and I think because this world is changing so fast, we shouldn't go out beyond 2025, 2026. So if you look at some of the price predictions, the averages of all of them, you got $2.82 for 2023. And we're not very far from that level right now. $3.72 for 2024 and $4.99 for 2025, just shy of $5, and then $6.85 in 2026. I think they are somewhat reasonable, but I put together my own, and I've taken a kind of a different flavor. And this is price prediction per the next bull run after we get through it. So here, I have a bear case, the expected case, and bull case. And this bull run can go through 2025. So those of you who are looking for where this time frame goes, and I know the moon boys and girls out there will want a 50x or $100 price, etc. I don't see that happening. I do expect the number of tokens to be in circulation, about 465 million by 2025, maybe a little bit sooner, depending on exactly how the burn mechanism works. And that the bear case will give us a market cap of 1.7 billion, expected case 2.3, and then 2.6 for the bull. So if you are in this and you were lucky enough to buy at 40 cents at the beginning of the year, 40 cents to 368 is a pretty good return for a couple of years. The question is, would you buy now at 220, 230? That is the problem. And I've been watching this since 120. I was going to do this video and then I just got busy and I didn't get a chance. But if the price is 120, this price prediction would have been the same. And that would have been a lot more upside. So let's talk about a quick conclusion about where we are today. And as I always say, don't chase, replace, if you guys know me. And the price action year to date has been stunning. We need a major narrative to drive a major return. So the AI has to really explode, as well as decentralization has to explode and adoption has to explode. And gains will be tied to, again, the performance of the cryptocurrency market. One of the things I did try to look at is what percentage of the market cap is of ETH and where ETH could run and how much that could really float the render boat. But again, it didn't really make sense because it's so fickle and it's run so far this year. Now, adoption of render by businesses and individuals is key for success. They need some new developments of new features, maybe some more compute power used for different things when there's no rendering capacity needed would be one idea that I have. In addition, there is that exponential compute demand which is coming. The question is, will they be going to render for it? So all of these things are kind of positive factors. And since 2017, render network users have rendered over 16 million frames and 500,000 scenes on the network. So when you calculate the fully diluted market cap based on all of it, how much it's produced since 2017, it runs at about $70 a rendering a frame or a scene, which is not bad at all. But hopefully with Solana, it get a lot cheaper. And again, the cheaper something goes and the higher the quality, the more market you open up and expose. So based on all of this, did I buy? Nope. Will I buy? Perhaps, but not at the current price because I like 3x upsides at least before it gets my attention. And going back to the price prediction that I have, we're not going to kind of get those 3x's unless, well, if the price went to say 180 and the bull case happened at 562, then I get my 3x. But again, that's just me. My goals are not your goals, as Rob would say. And so watch this space, by the way. A lot of these questions, a lot of demand comes from Patreon. And when I do buy, I share everything I do in real time. And we still have some seats open. So come join us if you want. And tomorrow I'm doing a training video on how I hedge my risk using options. So if you're interested in learning about that, jump on in and see how it goes and see all the stuff in there. So with that, hope you enjoyed the video, everybody. Thank you to the mods in the chat. Thank you, KN, and everybody else. This is a big one. And, people want to hear, oh, I want to buy something that does 100x. But no, conservatively, there's too much risk. Tokenomics are not perfect based on the peer group. And competition is abound due to AI. And that's kind of the conclusion. But it is a very interesting project. And these guys are some of the best in the business. And that's it. So hope you like the show. And let me know as well if you have other tokens you believe are super hot. I will analyze them as well as we go forward. Thank you all.